Hello and welcome to TVM Academy. This is CAT VARC 100 series, a free practice course for CAT verbal section. If you have not signed up for this course yet, you can do so on our portal on our website. The link is shared in the description of this video. RC number 13. Let's begin. A quick synopsis of the passage first. In the first paragraph, author introduces a natural phenomenon, supernova explosion, and he discusses its multiple effects. In the second paragraph, author tells us that supernova explosion occurs when nuclear fuel inside a star exhausts and the pressure starts dropping. In the third paragraph, he tells us two things. The temperature inside the star rises to a point where star bursts into intense light. That is what supernova explosion is. And he also tells us that the same can be detected, the matter, the energy can be detected using X-ray studies. Finally, in the last paragraph, he tells us that some discoveries have suggested that supernova explosion could cause the formation of a solar system, and it could also be the cause behind evolution of life on Earth. So this is what the passage was about. Question number 1. An appropriate title for the passage, best title for the passage. Option A, the origins and effects of supernovas. In the second paragraph, author discusses the mechanism, the physics behind supernova explosion. So yes, he does discuss the origin of supernova explosions and the effects. Last paragraph, he discusses the formation of solar system and evolution of life on Earth as possible effects of supernova. So option A could be the answer. The life and death of stars. The passage is not about stars, but supernovas in particular. Supernova and life on Earth are too narrow. The passage is not narrowly focused on the relationship between supernova and life on Earth. Life on Earth is just one of the multiple effects of supernova. So this is too narrow. Option D, the aftermath of a supernova. Now, aftermath, number 1, is negative in connotation. The passage is not negative. The passage does not tell you about the destructive effects of supernova. It also, in fact, tells you about the constructive effects, the possible evolution of Earth as being the possible effect of supernova explosion. So this is negative, does not capture the essence of the passage, not the connotation. Okay. According to the passage, a neutron star is what? Let's see. So author starts discussing the evolution of star. It maintains an equilibrium in outside pressure and between outside pressure and inside pressure. But once the fuel is burned up, the pressure starts dropping at the core, and that results in a neutron star. But that's not it. This neutron star, inside this neutron star, the temperature keeps rising, and finally it bursts into brilliant visual light, which is called supernova. So basically, neutron star is an intermediate stage between a normal star, ordinary star, and supernova. It's an intermediate state. Okay. Option A, it's a gaseous cloud. It's not a cloud, factually incorrect. It's a transient stage, okay, between an ordinary star and supernova. Exactly what we need. Transient means intermediate. The residue that is left by a supernova. Neutron star, the stage of a neutron star comes before supernova. So how can it be a residue of supernova? So this is also factually incorrect. The core of an ordinary star that houses the thermonuclear reactions. First, it is not an ordinary star. It is one stage further from the ordinary star towards supernova. Second, there is no mention of thermonuclear reactions happening inside the nuclear star. So this part is alien. And this part is factually incorrect. Question number 3. The author implies that So this is an inference-based question. The answer will not be found directly written, but it can be inferred from some information in the passage. Let's see. Option A, it is sometimes easier to detect supernovas by observation of the X-ray spectrum than by the observation of visible wavelengths of light. Now, some of you might think there is no mention of visible wavelength of light at all, and this information is alien. However, please note there is an important sentence here. The gas emitted by supernova explosion will emit most of its energy at X-ray wavelengths. Now, what does that imply? Most means greater than 50%. So if more than 50% of the energy is emitted in the form of X-ray wavelength or X-rays, it means that any other form of light, any other spectrum of light, is less than 50%. Which means we can say that it is sometimes easier. Also, there's a modifier here, sometimes, which makes this answer choice perfect. Beautiful. It is sometimes easier to detect supernovas by observation of X-ray spectrum than by the observation of any other spectrum of light, including visible wavelength, because of this word most. Most is emitted as X-ray. So option A should be the correct answer. Life on Earth is endangered by its constant exposure to supernova. This is opposite to what the passage says. Life is not endangered. In fact, the last paragraph says that supernova could be the driving force of the evolution of species. So if it is a driving force, it does not endanger it. In fact, it facilitates life on Earth. Recently discovered meteorites indicate that Earth and other planets of our solar system survive the explosion of supernova. Wait. It is also opposite. Recent discoveries suggest that Earth and other planets of our solar system were probably formed because of supernova explosion rather than they survive. So this is also opposite. They were formed, they did not even exist at the time of supernova, is what these discoveries suggest. Therefore, they did not survive. They were in fact possibly formed by the explosion of supernova. So opposite. Lighter elements are formed from heavier elements during a supernova. Wait, this is also opposite. Contradictory. It says lighter elements are fused into heavier elements during a supernova explosion. Third paragraph. Lighter elements are fused into heavier ones, which means lighter elements are not formed from heavier elements, they are formed into heavier elements. From lighter to heavier, rather than from heavier to lighter. So option D is also opposite. According to the passage, what is the first event in the sequence that leads to occurrence of supernova? Okay. Now please note, an ordinary star maintains its equilibrium between outside pressure and inside pressure, but that balance is disturbed when the nuclear fuel is exhausted. So this is the trigger. This is the triggering event for supernova, and then neutron star is formed, and then temperature rises, and finally supernova, an outburst happens. So the first event, therefore, is burning up of nuclear fuel inside an ordinary star's core. Okay. Option A, an ordinary star begins to emit tremendous quantities of X-rays. Wait, this was the last event in the sequence of events, not the first one. Only when supernova bursts, it starts emitting X-rays. So this was not the first event. A neutron star is enveloped by a superheated cloud of gas. A neutron star is formed in second stage towards the formation of supernova, not in the first stage. Okay. An imbalance between light and heavy elements causes an ordinary star to collapse. Wait, there is no imbalance between light and heavy elements that triggers the collapse of the star. It is the burning up of nuclear fuel. So this part is also alien to the idea. An ordinary star burns up its supply of nuclear fuel, correct, and begins to collapse, correct. Option D is the correct answer. Easy question. Last question. Which of the following, if true, critical reasoning, would cast most doubts on the general picture of supernova explosion. So we have to basically weaken any of the given sequence of events, its origin or its effect. Okay. Option A, the nuclear pressure from the burning up of fuel frequently far exceeds a star's tendency to collapse under its own weight. Now, understand, this part says that when the nuclear fuel is exhausted, the pressure drops in the core and the star starts collapsing inward. But option A says, even when the nuclear fuel exhausts, the nuclear pressure inside the core is too much. It exceeds the outside pressure and it exceeds the tendency to collapse, which means the star does not collapse. It directly refutes. It refutes the first event itself. So option A should be the answer. It directly challenges the our understanding of the first event that triggers the formation of supernova. Option B, the superheated gas after a supernova explosion also emits some of its energy in the form of visible light. Some of its energy only as visible light. So supernova emits some of its energy as visible light. It does not challenge the existing view of supernova because author himself has said most of the energy is X-ray type, X-ray wavelength, which means there is scope for some of the energy being visible light. So this does not contradict it. Rather, it is in coherence with the general picture of supernova explosion. Option C, the neutron star is not a stable state. The neutron star is not a stable state and it explodes as soon as it reaches a critical temperature. That is exactly what the passage also says. A neutron star, the temperature keeps rising and it finally explodes into brilliant visual light. So basically this is again in coherence, in sync with what the passage says. Many solar systems have been produced by supernova explosion. So passage already talks about this possibility. So this also supports the general picture of supernova explosion rather than contradict or refute it. Okay. So all three options BCD are in support of the general picture rather than against it. Option A is the correct answer. I hope you like this passage, guys. A very interesting read. The passage was easy to read, easy to understand. The questions were also easy to moderate. So keep liking these videos, keep sharing with your friends, and keep spreading the word about TVM Academy. Thank you very much. Cheers to learning.